I bid everyone good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, your humble host, Mike Martins, just here with you guys, hanging out. And I got a really, really interesting story that came out about 4.5 hours ago. This is a big one. And remember, we're talking about mass exoduses, people mass exodusing their cities because they can't afford to live. So they're housing migrants because they can't afford to live in their own cities they were born and raised in. And guess what? They're moving to affordable areas, whether it's 2, 3, 4, even 5 hours away from the major capitals and cities, because they can no longer afford to live in major cities anymore. So you're seeing a huge exodus of middle class working poor, the people that basically contribute to the infrastructure, the people that basically built these Commonwealth countries are basically moving to greener pastures. But now it looks like a sector. We're losing our doctors. We're losing our nurses. We're not having enough doctors and nursing going through college because it's too expensive. And a lot of the potentials that could be doctors and surgeons and stuff and transplanters, plastic surgeons, whatever you call them, basically are thinking twice about getting into debt now because they're seeing what's happening to the generation ahead of them, how they got screwed over by these jobs that were supposed to be available for them that weren't just there. So, what's going on here, guys, is actually a big one. Energy exodus. Oil and gas workers look for more opportunity in Texas. Well, you guys know that all my exes live in Texas, right? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think I have one ex in Texas. Do I? I think she lives in, I don't even remember where, but okay, so this touches with Canada and the United States. Pay attention because it's coming soon to a Commonwealth near you. Alberta is known for its energy and the accompanying booms and busts because of it. But ever since the last bust, when world oil prices collapsed in 2014 and tens of thousands of energy workers lost their jobs, Alberta has struggled to regain its footing. That has many looking south to survive and thrive. Calgary-based Osprey Informatics and tech company that services the oil and gas industry opened a Houston, Texas office in January. It budgeted to do 10% of its business in the US this year and 90% in Canada. But 2020, it's forecasting 70% of its business to come from the United States and 30% from Canada. Paul Ritchie, the CEO of the company, has spent half of his year in Houston. I can tell you, by my hotel rewards points, I've spent a lot of nights here. Buddy, Paul, Richie, if you're listening to this, brother, you could buy a house for $200,000 in Houston. It's not Canada. You could buy a house with a pool and a 4-bedroom for $200,000 in Houston. You know you can. So you don't have to spend so much money in a hotel. You know what I'm saying? You just buy a house and stay there as your headquarters. You know what I'm saying? And soon he will be. Richie plans to move to Houston, Texas next summer, and said Texas is welcoming him with open arms. That's great. I wasn't welcomed in my own city, so I left. Well, no one's really welcome in their big cities anymore. I wouldn't have left Canada without the opportunity that sits in front of us right now. Canadian companies are so well respected that it's not even a blip in the road when you're dealing with somebody. It's like, oh, you're a Canadian company, it's good. It's going to be good, and you're going to be nice to me. That's good. All analysis says Richie's case is far from unusual. Tim Pickering with Auspice Capital Advisors Law said there's definitely an energy exodus happening. We all know the big names that have left, and there are hundreds of similar companies that are very significant employers here in Calgary that 50, 60, 70% of their revenues are coming out of the United States, and they had no choice. This is something that they wanted to do, but the business in the US, you're gonna go where the business is, right? Follow the money, guys. It's just a lot easier in Texas in a lot of ways, Pickering said. There's no real edge to being in Alberta, and that's so painful to say. Well, Alberta right now is seeing its collapse, and right now the only thing that could save Alberta right now is if Alberta secedes from Canada. If Alberta leaves Canada, I think Alberta could do it because they have enough conservatives there that basically there's not one single liberal that won a seat there in the election. So I think the province of Alberta could secede and see secession with Wexit. Pickering said it had one pipeline project application since 2016 compared to 14 in the U.S. Yeah, 1 to 14 pipeline applications since 2016. There's been a lot of uncertainty around the energy sector in Canada, especially in the last 5 years. Canadian oil continues to sell at a discount compared to world oil price. There are more regulations like Bill C-48 in northern BC, Coast Tanker Ban, and Bill C-69, known as the industry as No More Pipelines Bill. So the Greens, or the green people, or the environmentalists are basically destroying Canada and its economy, so they just move down to the United States and they keep their economy going. But don't worry, our economy is backed by housing here. We'll be safe. Housing's doing great in Canada, right? I don't think so. There is also a lack of market access and mounting skepticism over timelines around when projects like Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion will be built. So this has been going on for the last million years now. Since the time of Moses, they've been preaching this, going back and forth with this Trans-Canada pipeline. So this, yeah. Anyways, since 2017, we have lost 29 high-spec drilling rigs to the United States. The pre-2014, we had approximately 900 drilling rigs in Western Canada, and the end of 2020, we are predicting to have less than 500. Oof. Even though we got all the oil, America will find a way to drill like vertically or diagonally to just get into our oil, and that's it. Because you know what? The environmentalists here won't let us take our own oil out of our ground, and blocking oil tankers and blocking this and blocking pipelines. We should have an environmentalist country for environmentalists to live together so they could actually progress and flourish and show the rest of the world how it's done. Then this way we could see how it's done on their eyes and we'll see how we do it on our side. You know what I'm saying? Solch said he has watched several families in Alberta struggling. So has Paul Ritchie. I have close friends that haven't worked in 2 years. They are masters of engineering and they're driving on Uber now, Ritchie said. Ritchie said he's up for an adventure to moving to a new country and to a new city that reminds him of the young, vibrant place of Calgary used to be 15 years ago. Oh, Houston's got millions of people. He doesn't like Houston? Man, move to Austin, move to San Antonio, move to Katy, move to what is that? Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. There's so many cities in Texas. There's more cities in Texas than there is in all of Canada. Big cities, I'm saying. Major cities. Houston has a Canadian Chamber of Commerce and Canadian Consult. Consult is there. And they have 3 trade commissions there. They are very active in pushing Canadian companies on the U.S. market. Schultz says the conversions are happening all over the province in business, wondering if it's worth it keeping their head offices in Alberta. So it looks like they're going to even close their offices and move down to the United States of America. Why? Because you have a lot of qualified people there to do the job too, and you have a lot of people that basically get hired on, a lot of companies like this, they hire on experience and not just hiring to make companies look good. They actually hire people that they need to do the job. They don't care where they're from. Can you do this job? Yes, you can. You got the job, right? So that's how it works, right? Down in the States, they go cowboy when it comes to things, and they have hopefully their constitution stays up and running because once their constitution gets taken down, the rest of the world falls. But I think America right now is the haven and place for everyone to go. Everyone is, I guess, heading south of the border. We lost a majority of our good doctors, plastic surgeons, emergency, all kinds, back doctors, this doctor, brain surgeons. We're losing all our best workers to the United States of America, and it hurts. When you move down there, you could buy a house for 1/16 of the cost than you would in Vancouver or Toronto, Mississauga, or Burnaby. You buy everything 1/16 cheaper, 16 times cheaper than you would in Texas, and you have so much infrastructure, highways, bridges. There's so much going in and out, and it's just so So good. And if you don't like the big cities, you move to smaller towns. There's so many places in Texas to move. Let me know what you guys think. This is a smart move, and they're not being greedy about this. They're being realistic about this. Being greedy about something is knowing that you're producing or doing something that somebody needs, but you're taking advantage of them, right? Like electricity or heat. But this is different. They're actually seeing an opportunity, and nobody wants to see their work and everything they've worked for come to an end. Let me know what you guys think. Energy exodus from Alberta. Comment below. And if you're in Canada or the States or wherever in the Commonwealth, share this video. Get it out there, because I think everyone's going to be fleeing to the Union. Be joining the Union. Everyone's going to be joining the Union. If you're anyone and anybody and you have a specialty and you're a tradesman and you're sick and tired of paying for a house or paying these debts or just struggling to live, and even though you're a skilled trade or you're in a doctor or you're something or you're whatever you do, then, or you're in medicine or whatever you do, I think the Union, a lot of people will be moving to the Union. And I think the United States. And I think what's going to happen is the United States will start taking people in knowing that they qualify to actually contribute to the infrastructure. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below, and thanks for watching.